Hi, I'm Micki,
I'm Kat.
and we are Cat and Mouse Astrology. And we're here today to talk to you about the new moon in Pisces.
Hmm.
Ooh, it's weird. It's a neat, interesting new moon.
Yeah, everything's clustered on one side of the chart.
We've got a bowl pattern.
Mm.
We can hold something.
Okay. Keep it
I,
contained or just held?
yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that. It may be a good container for something.
Yeah.
What I'm fascinated with is that, that 1 degree of Pisces is potent.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, it's the last sign, and Pisces is the deep water sign, and it just feels like everything that was, I don't know, harsh, Capricornian, Saturnian for the last 5 to 6 years is
Hmm.
taking a deep dive in a cool pool.
Okay. Yeah, the symbols, I was just looking at the symbols before we got started, and it has this real balance or tension between things that are hidden and things that are coming into form,
That's
or
fascinating.
things from the past and what's about to emerge.
Mm, yeah,
Pisces.
Pisces, very much Pisces. Well,
Yeah.
let me share the screen and let's take a look at the chart. And here it is. So that's not the chart. That's our new moon, 1 degree of Pisces with our little cat and mouse symbols that I like. So, okay, the new moon is conjunct Saturn, and that's giving some structure or maybe slowing down the new beginning.
Mm.
So, I mean, all the whole astrology community is a buzz about March because
Huh?
March
What's
is
that?
when everything um, moves out of the old sign and into the new sign. We've got a
Right.
big Pisces thing in March, but also um, everything
Venus
shifts.
into Aries.
Sorry, go ahead.
Venus moving into Aries.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, Venus moving into Aries.
Is Mars moving out of its shadow period?
Right. That's
Yeah.
coming up too at the in March. That's right.
Yeah.
Saturn into Pisces. You know, it's just a big shift. It's not just one. It's just and Pluto.
Pluto moving out of
Pluto.
Capricorn.
Right. So everything that we've been, if we've been feeling really stuck or held back, um, Saturn in its home sign of Capricorn and Aquarius, ruling both of those signs over the last 5, 6 years,
Hmm.
has maybe put a real emphasis on, um, you know, restriction in some areas that may lift soon.
Okay.
So, and that Mercury in Aquarius square Uranus, which is coming up to being exact in just a few days, there's something here about communicating how the people, Aquarius, feel
Hmm.
about that Saturnine restriction.
Hmm.
So Saturn
Yeah.
is changing. And, you know, I think the best lesson for Saturn, for me anyway, has been to see how I can work with it and use it to be the structure rather than being railing against its slowing me down or stopping me.
Right. Right. It's always a good idea to try to work with things and not just fight against them.
Exactly. Well, let me scroll down a little farther. So this new moon in Pisces at February 19th or 20th, depending on where you are, it's really middle of the night, early in the morning, depending on your location on the planet. Um, so because it's the Mercury square Uranus and sextile Chiron,
Hmm.
plus the conjunction with Saturn, there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on here.
Yeah.
So I gave a little interpretation. Um, The moon in Pisces sheds light on an ending. Pisces is the last sign in the zodiac, and a new
Right.
beginning, the new moon. So it's
Mhm.
kind of like an ending and a beginning and an ending,
Yes.
you know. So this new beginning may be slowed or require structure because the moon is conjunct Saturn. And Saturn is just now saying, hello, Pisces. It's at that degree point where it's just, it's a highly potent degree being at 29 degrees. And when it pops into Pisces, again, things are going to change. So that's why it's like, what's going on in Pisces? Where's Pisces? And I will, for everybody's sake, since we won't take the time during this video, but for everybody's sake, I'll put the Pisces house, what happens when Saturn goes into your Pisces house 1 through 12. And we can talk briefly about our own houses, and then I'll put that down below so people can read about that. Pisces for me is my 6th house, so for you, it's your 12th.
Right.
So we cover 2 houses there that might be of interest to people. I expect Saturn to impact my health and my floating around doing stupid stuff. Saturn wants people to be really structured. So
Yeah.
I'm going to go to the gym and I'm going to get my work life in order. That's my plan. What about you for your 12th house?
Well, the 12th house would be things to let go of and past life stuff and hidden stuff, right?
And also your subconscious,
My subconscious.
your
God, how do you
dreams,
structure
your
these things?
creativity.
Do I need to keep a dream journal? You know, when it makes me think of when I met in a spiritismo, and one of the spirits that he was medium for came through and gave me the drinking gourd and told me I needed to stay up late at night and write. And I had tiny children at the time, and I was working in grad school, and I could not stay up late at night and write random things from the spirit world. But maybe this is the time. Maybe the next 2 years is the time for me to be really disciplined about that.
Yeah,
That seems like a 12th house kind of thing, right?
it really does. It very much seems like a 12th house thing. And I just think, having an understanding of where we're headed into this, because it is a 2.5 year change.
Yeah.
The Pluto change is even bigger
Yeah.
because Pluto's going to step into Aquarius, and that's a sea change,
Yeah.
right? So, I've been, working with my own chart and other people's charts recently and tracking Saturn transits through from their birth forward.
All right. Yeah.
And it matches so perfectly with what's gone on in people's lives.
Mm-hmm.
Just tracking where Saturn connected with your sun, and then the squares from that and the opposition to your sun
Mm-hmm.
is like, oh yeah, those were the most important times in my life when these really like crucial life-changing event happens. So
Mm-hmm.
Saturn on 2.5 years is crucial,
Yeah.
but tracking Pluto, that's generations.
Right.
So we've got, when we talk about moving into the Aquarian age, there's big debate about, well, this really isn't the Aquarian age. We got another 120 years before that comes around. But nobody actually knows the beginning and ending of the ages, exactly
There's
like
not
that.
hard lines on things like that, like
Right.
rivers don't stick to their banks all that well.
Exactly. And in astrology, we've got cusps, and we've
Yeah.
got this leeway that we give, 5 degrees or so to 10 even, and for aspects.
Right.
So Pluto moving into Aquarius over the next 20 some years, that's going to be a big impact on, it's going to change the way we feel. And the next generation is going to be the Pluto in Aquarius generation.
Right.
So you're from the Pluto in Libra generation, and I'm from the Pluto in Virgo generation.
My generation's been undergoing its Pluto square in Capricorn. So yay, we'll move out of that.
Exactly. Yeah. It's just that's also interesting to track, because you can really see, you can feel Pluto. It's like, oh wow, the 60s had that flavor, the 70s had that flavor, the 80s had that flavor. I mean, well, it's a longer transit than that, but and the 60s actually lasted into the 70s too, right? If you want to look at it that way. But the Pluto transits are also interesting to track in your life, because you can see where really big societal changes, happened in the way we feel differently and stuff. So yeah, big changes are coming, and look to see where your Pisces house is, or where the change is going to impact you with Saturn.
Can I tell you the Saturn degree for this new moon?
Yes, please.
It's a butterfly emerging from a chrysalis.
Yeah. Okay, that's cool.
Right as we shift. Right as it
Right
shifts
as
signs, it's a butterfly emerging.
That's fascinating, because the sign of Capricorn is really chrysalis. Is that the word? No, crystallization. Maybe that's the word I would use. Because Capricorn, Saturn makes things real, makes it solid. Government, institutions, it's all those kinds of structural, bigger than life things. And Aquarius is the people. And now Saturn's going to go into this water sign. I'm flipping.
Yeah, that's strange. Strange
really
interactions in the storm.
Oh, it must be the storm. We've got a storm here, folks.
Yeah, this is crazy looking.
Well, let me share my screen. Maybe that'll help.
It's a restructuring, like a butterfly turning into goo inside of its chrysalis.
Right away, baby. Okay, fun. Well, here's the chart itself. And look at how much is going on here. It's just a lot.
It's got a kite with fortune and the rising. That's crazy.
Right. We've got, look at there, we've got black moon at this end of the kite. And I always look at it as like pulling back an arrow. So that's the direction it's flying in, literally towards the unknown.
Yeah, right. And Leo. Yeah.
And Leo, exactly.
Into the fiery unknown.
Oh, yeah. And then we've got the part of fortune here at 0 degrees, again, a potent point for Sagittarius, and the ascendant of the chart. And that's in a trine with Venus.
Nice.
So all these blue lines are really showing us some ease towards something, right? And then the big red line, that's Mercury squaring Uranus, exact, coming right on up. But it's within 3 degrees on this moon. Right. We're having this discussion a few days before the moon. It's close enough now to be considered, if it was in your birth chart, any astrologer would look at that and say, wow, you've got Mercury square Uranus.
Yeah, let's talk about those symbols for a minute.
Yeah.
So Uranus is still at the degree of an old teacher fails to interest his students in traditional knowledges, where it's been for a little while. And Mercury is at the sign of a barometer, which is a pressure gauge.
That's fascinating.
So it's like, let's just like take a gauge on how much we don't want the old.
How would you interpret it personally? I mean, not maybe for you personally, but on an individual level.
I think I'd want to like take a hard look at or listen for messages that tell me about the things I want to let go of, to release some pressure. Where am I feeling some pressure in my life? Is there something from the past that's keeping that pressure going and is not helpful and is not interesting for how I want to move forward? Because then we also have a trine between Mercury and Mars is the other teacher.
Oh no, this one, you mean the trine?
It's a woman.
Yeah, Venus.
Oh, Venus.
Right.
Oh, it's a sextile to Venus. Is that what it is?
It's a sextile to Venus.
Okay. Let me find Venus.
No, well, it's Venus and Chiron because
Okay.
they're in conjunction. It's exactly sextile to Chiron, but it's coming into us. It's leaving this sextile with Venus.
Okay. I didn't look up Chiron. But there is another teacher in the chart, which is a teacher that creates new symbolic forms from old images. So
Sorry, go ahead.
yeah, so that's where I lean. Like, what's the pressure in your life that's uncomfortable not in a maybe in a way of the butterfly inside its chrysalis is uncomfortable.
Right.
And because you have to get out of what you were in the past in order to become where you're going. Like the
Yeah.
changing butterfly, like the leaving the uninteresting traditional knowledges behind and forming new symbolic meanings.
Beautiful. And so where Uranus is, this is where your Taurus house is. Where's Taurus in your chart? And Mercury is where Aquarius is in Aquarius. So it's the Aquarius house in your chart. That would be where you might look for this change personally, where you want to let go of something in your Taurus area. And I can think about it geopolitically too, just for a second. I'll throw that out there. One of the big issues with the oligarchs and authoritarians is using old knowledge and tradition to keep people in a certain place that they want people to be in. And I think that this is demonstrating that just like you were talking about with the ocean flowing, we're not static, and individuals may want things to stay the same so that they can keep power or control,
right,
especially using symbols and tradition. But we are changing, and that change is coming right away. So I would say that anybody who is holding power in a way that is repressive, restrictive, Saturnine is going to see a really big change as Saturn moves on into Pisces.
Right. This is the degree that Pluto is at.
Right.
The end of Capricorn, Pluto is at the symbol of directors of a large firm meet in secret.
Ooh.
But there's more secret. The moon and the sun at the beginning of Pisces are at the degree of squirrels hiding from hunters. It's like this like play between, if you think of squirrels as like the common people versus like the Plutonian, like the directors of the corporate boards meeting in secret. It's like a guerrilla warfare kind of thing. And who's got the old ways of doing things versus the like squirrels hidden in the woods who know the land. The tricksters, squirrels are kind of like the tree rat tricksters of the natural world.
Absolutely. Those tricksters can be in the trees that we think of as more like the internet.
Yeah.
There's a technology thing here too, because Uranus is involved. That's tech. It really is fascinating to take this apart. What is that saying that we grew up with? By the people, for the people. What's the other one? There's three of them.
Of the people.
Of the people, by the people, for the people. But since we've had this Pluto and Capricorn, for sure, it's been of the money, by the money, for the money.
Yeah.
For the controllers of the money.
Right.
And there's a shift coming as Pluto moves into Aquarius, which is the sign of the people.
Right. And there's a shift coming as Mars moves out of its shadow period past its retrograde shadow, which is at the degree of a woman activist and an emotional speech dramatizing her cause.
Wow. Read that one more time, please.
A woman activist and an emotional speech dramatizing her cause.
We the people, of the people, by the people, for the people. Yeah.
For the people, for the people.
Yeah, let's get back to that, folks.
Yeah.
Woohoo. So this is
That
a complicated chart.
is.
Interesting.
I want to say one thing about Venus too, which is in sextile to Pluto. And so if we're talking about the woman activist, Venus is at this very strange degree at the last degree of Pisces. A majestic rock formation resembles a face, resembling a face, is idealized by a boy who takes it as his ideal of greatness, and as he grows up, begins to look like it. It's really, really like, so there's a little boy, he sees a rock formation, he loves it, he wants to be like it. It's like his personification of what is the ideal form in the world, and he becomes that. So Venus is at this degree of knowing what it is, what you value, which is what Venus does, and living into that vision for yourself.
Very interesting. Read it one more time, please.
A majestic rock formation resembling a face is idealized by a boy who takes it as his ideal of greatness, and as he grows up, begins to look like it.
Yeah,
So
that's
it's
powerful.
that growing into your ideal, that butterfly emerging, becoming what you want to be.
Right. And this whole Neptune conjunct Venus there in Pisces is a big deal too.
Mm.
I mean, keep in mind that this is, as you said, the 29th degree, which is a potent degree. Pisces, the last sign, last degree of the last sign, conjunct Neptune at home in Pisces.
Mm-hmm.
Venus is just about to step into Aries and go marching.
Yeah.
Right. And what does she have in mind? She has in mind what you just read about the woman activist. Which one? Which was that? Was that Mercury or Pluto?
That's Mars.
That's Mars. Okay, yeah. Right. This is fascinating. And Mars is here just now getting ready to pull forward. And I didn't put all the aspects on here because if we talked about them all, we'd be here for the rest of our lives. So
yeah, that's right.
So I'm going to pull it down a little bit and just show these other two charts real quick. We've got Venus kissing Neptune, again, this beautiful dreamy hello before it steps confidently into Aries. What you value is the stuff of dreams. Oh, but Saturn follows the union of Venus plus Neptune into Pisces and makes something real. So I would say one question to think of is, are you prepared for your dreams to crystallize and take form?
That's right. And what do you need to purge? Because Neptune is still at that purging of the priesthood.
Very good. Yeah. You got to let something go. You got to make room, even if it's just, a rearranging of a house or a room. You got to take something out to put something new in. Mars pulling forward in Gemini reminds us of what happened last fall. Because now we're back at that territory. Last fall, it was at these same degrees that it is now. Can you read? You already did read that, the degree of the woman activist.
Right.
Right. So Mars is going to enter new territory on March 18th. It's going to pull forward into places where we haven't been before. Yeah, taking us full steam ahead. Going to places we've never been before. What is that Star Trek thing?
Yeah.
Boldly go. The squares, we've got the Mercury square Uranus, exact February 22nd. We talked about that a little bit. Here's a little interpretation of it. Communicating again how the people feel and talk about the restrictions and the change that's coming.
That barometer.
Back to the barometer. And again, it is going to lift as it moves forward. And I think there's one more chart here. Yeah, the trines. So we've got some pretty nice sextile here with Venus and Pisces sextile Pluto. So as she's sextiling Pluto, which allows, again, ease for this change, she leaves the conjunction with Neptune, again, at that critical 29th degree. A potent blessing? I don't know. A deep dream of desire, hidden love? We could go on. I mean, what are some other ideas you would put for this Venus stepping into Aries.
Manifesting your ideals, making your ideals something that's tangible, giving form to your intentions.
Yeah. Wonderful. Well, let's see if the butterfly is still going. Oh no, it looks like it's okay. So this is a pretty cool new moon.
Yeah.
In Pisces. I think it's heralding something.
It seems to be, yeah. And which is seems reasonable because we're coming into spring here soon.
That's right. That's right.
Coming into spring.
That's right. So everybody take a look at your Pisces house and think about what you're going to let go of. What do you think, Kat? Any final words for the moon?
I mean, it's a new moons are always intention setting, and everything about this one is pointing in that direction. Just focus on your ideals. How do you embody your ideals and come out of hiding?
Yeah. Embody your ideals and come out of hiding.
Yeah.
It's time to leave the chrysalis, and you'll have some wet stuff on you. You're not really quite ready to fly.
Right. It takes
but we're
time.
thinking about flying.
Yeah.
Well,
Perfect.
thanks for being with us on this new moon, and we'll see you guys on the next moon.
Bye.
Bye.